There's never a better case for confirmation bias than that 9/11. September 11th, confirmation bias is when you only look at one side of the argument because you're trying to convince yourself that you're right. And in the September 11th one, man, that's one where people no one wants to admit that even the possibility that the government somehow knew about it or somehow was involved in organizing it. No one would ever admit that. And if you admit that, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's a real tricky thing. They don't want to look at the facts of the past. They don't want to look at things like Operation Northwoods or the Bay of Pigs or all the different times where it might have been a bunch of bullshit while we were in some country and while young people were getting killed for their crazy bidding. There might have been bullshit that we would have never agreed to if we knew what the fuck was really going on.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, people don't want to look at that. They don't want to look at that possibility.
It's incredible the amount of evidence there is that their 911 was super shady. I mean, the fact that most people don't even know 3 skyscrapers went down on 9/11. Most people, they'll tell you too. You ask them how many skyscrapers went down. 3 went down. They just don't talk about Tower 7. That was like a 50-story skyscraper that just imploded, like a controlled demo. You could look at it, and it looks like a controlled demo. You look at it, you see it. It's on video, a bunch of different angles, and they didn't talk about it in the initial 911 commission report. They didn't even talk about why this skyscraper went down after years of pressure and people going, what the fuck happened to Tower 7? Why did it look like, why was it demo? They go, it fell at free fall speed. Everyone kept saying, it fell free fall speed. Explain that. People wanted answers. So finally, the government hired, I think they're called SIST. It's like initials for some scientific company that's funded by the government.
NIST.
NIST. N-I-S-T. You could see the videos on YouTube unless they've been pulled. And they had a press conference and to explain what happened to this 50-story, or it's like 47-story skyscraper that just on video got controlled demo. They're going, it fell at free fall speed. They're saying so they came up and to prove that it wasn't free fall speed. That if it was free fall speed, that it would have fell in 4.2 seconds instead of 4.4 seconds or some ridiculous thing like that. Like they were a second off, so they were just there to prove that it wasn't free fall speed. So therefore, there's no conspiracy. So they go. So wait a minute. So do any controlled demos do they fall at free fall speed? No. They go. The definition of free fall speed is something. This is what they said. Something falling without any resistance. That's free fall speed. So this building had resistance, so it's not free fall speed. So they're going. Wait a minute.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It wasn't ridiculous.
There's mass.
Yeah, and some dude stood up and said, so wait a minute. So do controlled demos, do you consider that free fall speed? And they go, nope, that's not free fall speed. Oh, so controlled demos are not free fall speed. So why are we talking about this?
Yeah, what is that?
It was ridiculous. And you could just tell they just had to do their job.
That's fascinating that nobody thought anybody was going to counter that and ask them if controlled demolitions are free fall speed.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a controlled demolition because obviously I'm not an architect, nor do I know anything about building construction. So it is possible that you could burn a building and the fire reaches so high and it's so hot that all the floors collapse uniformly and it pancakes into itself. It is possible. I don't know.
Based on
architects and engineers from 9/11 Truth, they don't think it's possible.
Yeah,
there's something like 1,300 different engineers.
And just common sense. Just common sense. This is a video of a controlled demo, and no other building. You just put like a detective. No building has ever fallen like that ever before.
Do you think they armed the building when they built it? What do you think they did? If you think that's a controlled demolition, what do you think they did? And everybody, there's a lot of people right now getting angry. This is a fucking bullshit conversation. You fucking conspiracy theorists. Listen, I don't know. I'm not saying. I literally have no opinion on it. But when I look at it, it does look like a controlled demolition. Does that mean anything? No, because I'm an idiot, and I'm not some sort of an engineer or any sort of a scientist. However, why does everybody get mad when you say it looks like a controlled demolition? Because it fucking does.
Yeah, it sure
fucking does. Why are they mad? Why are you mad when I say that someone that kinks in the middle and then falls into its own base?
Instantly.
All
at once.
It does it all, crumples. Everything gives out at the exact same order. Just like it would in a controlled demolition. It all gave out floor to floor. It's perfect.
It looks exactly like a controlled demo.
Yeah, it fell into its base.
No
one's saying it's a controlled demolition. I don't know it's a controlled demolition. You don't know, right?
It looks like one to me.
It does look like one, right? It does, right? But why does everybody get mad when you say it looks like a controlled demolition?
Just look at it. Look at controlled demos. There's plenty of video on them. And then look at Tower 7. It's all on YouTube. You could just watch it. No skyscraper ever has fallen like that from fires.
But it could be that, if it gets damaged the way that got damaged, and apparently that was also, they housed diesel fuel there. And there's like some sort of a lawsuit because of that. So they're saying like the diesel fuel led to, the fire being so hot that everything collapsed like that. It's possible. Yeah. Still, it looks like a controlled demolition. You don't believe that? But it could be. But wait a minute. You see, but if they did really have who knows how many gallons of fucking diesel fuel, thousands, millions, who knows, and that stuff is on fire, that's an incredible amount of heat that would be generated. That does make sense that it could compromise the structural integrity of a building if it basically becomes an oven.
If I had to bet $1 million either way and we were going to find out the answer and you have to guess, I would definitely go, okay, I would say
controlled demolition.
Controlled demolition. There's a lot of shady shit going on.
Well, here's where it gets really crazy.
And then the war started after that. It was a way to get into the war.
Well, here's where it gets really crazy. That building was where the NSA had offices, the CIA had offices.
Yep.
The Tower
Naval
7
intelligence
had all kinds of secret fucking black ops shit going on there.
What would you choose, Joe?
You know what? Let me tell you a little story.
What would you choose, Joe, if you were doing the same yes or no question that he did? We're going to find the answer out right now.
What do you mean?
If it was a controlled demolition.
What would I do? What do you mean?
Which would you choose?
Oh, if I had to say one or the other, whether it was or not? That's a good question. It looks like a controlled demolition. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me.
It was $1 million, right? $1 trillion.
No, $1 million for me, $10 billion for him.
Okay,
$1 million.
$10 billion. Joe.
It's fucking really hard to guess, man. It'd be really hard to guess. Because honestly, it sounds preposterous, and this is just my Occam's razor logic, all that stuff. When I think the fact that they might have hired a whole crew to rig this building with explosives, or maybe construct the building with explosives built in. Does anybody do that? Or is it possible that this fucking 2 planes slammed into these giant towers, caused all this fucking damage to neighboring buildings, and it started a fire, and the fire lit up these gasoline drums that were filled with diesel fuel, and there's millions of gallons of fuel, and the whole thing inside of it became like a fucking oven and just gave out all at once? Shit.
Yeah, I gotta go with. You got 10 seconds, Joe.
I gotta go with controlled demolition.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You would go with controlled demolition.
Yeah, if I had to go, if I had to, one way or the